All right. Welcome in, everybody, to the half. My name is Erich Montgomery, and you can find me over at our Success Group.
And my name is Erich Campbell. You can find me at erichcampbell.com.
Well, so we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Had a break last week. I don't think we pre-announced that or anything, but we had a break.
We didn't. We just vanished. So we're okay. But I apologize for that, folks. Just could not make it work out with the travels and.
And you guys can blame me because I decided not to do the quarter. I was like, it really just isn't the same if we are doing it. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna have a break.
We're here. We're ready.
Okay.
Yep. So we're back.
Yes.
When people are ready. So let's dive right in, Eric. If you're ready to do it, let's do it. Man. So where we always want to start is, and again, one of the reasons I love the half personally is that I get to hear Eric's take on what I just got to spend an hour talking about with Abby Clark over at Transfer Express. So, Eric, what's your take? What stood out to you?
So today we had Abby Clark over at Transfer Express talking about sales. So we talked about sales and in kind of a way that I think you folks who are here, who are part of this community already get. But it was cool to have her talk about it. So she's from Transfer Express. It's a stalls company. They're huge on communication with customers. I think that's something that's really important to kind of make clear here is that she came in talking about, customer relationships and some of the stuff that's kind of, we all know this. If you've been in sales at all, like you need to be honest with people. You have to listen more than you speak. You have to start with a good fundamental understanding of who it is you're talking to and what they need in order to provide solutions. And one of the great things that she came to that I always love to say, it kind of comes into one of those catchphrases. We always make fun of stuff like we'd make fun of Terry's stories. We make fun of both you and I get hashed on for, going a little woo woo once in a while. But one of the things that I say very frequently kind of mesh with stuff she said, because she's like, we need to provide solutions for the customer that are related to their problems, that are specific to their shops, their businesses. And you have to think certainly Transfer Express, that is someone who is servicing our industry. So she's certainly coming at this from someone who's providing, solutions for our industry, not for our customers. However, one of the things that I consistently tell people when they're worried about what they can charge for their work, when they're worried about what makes them valuable, when they're worried about competition with the shop down the street, and now down the street may mean anywhere in the world, I constantly repeat that we want to be a provider of solutions. We want to be a consultant, not a commodity. That's the one that I say all the time. That's kind of become the joke catchphrase for me, but it's true. There is the consultant. If you break that down, being a consultant doesn't mean running out with your product and saying, this is what you need. Be a consultant. If you think about what a consultant does, they show up to a place, they show up to meet with someone, they show up and they first get a lowdown on what's going on. The very first thing a consultant is going to do is observe a business. If you guys have watched any of those kind of consultant adjacent TV shows, like Bar Rescue or those kinds of shows, the first thing they do is walk in, watch the normal operation happening, talk to each of the people on all levels and that are kind of in the different segments, in the different positions in the company. And then they go and formulate a solution. And sales, I think, is similar. Now, there are always going to be for custom decorators, whether it's apparel or accessories, there's always going to be the kind of customer that doesn't want to do this. They walk in, they want to slap down their money, they kind of know what they want, and you are the t-shirt box, the thing that I tell people not to be, which is a black box that money goes in one side and shirts come out the other.
Yeah,
transaction. We don't really want to be that. We don't want to be that. But at the same time, there's going to be people who want that. But if you send out those feelers and start asking some questions and the customer is at all willing to talk, the likelihood is you have that other kind of customer where they're going to talk about what they need. You can ask them what the actual goal is for the thing that they're buying from you. And yes, I know it sounds weird. They're like, oh, it's a shirt. The goal is to put a shirt on someone. Most of what we do is either promotional or has to do with getting a message out. If we talk to them about how that message is being received, what's the most important thing to them, how somebody's seeing the garment, what they want someone to feel when they look at it. I know it sounds kind of crazy. You can say, hey, what's the impression you want them to take away? Even just a few questions on that scale added to some technical questions to make sure you understand, how big should a logo be? Where should it be? How's it being seen? How is that garment going to need to hold up? What kind of environment is it? Is it on someone who's working, out in the field, or is it on someone in an office? Those are very basic questions. Then we have the technical questions about like color and garment styles and things that might influence the way we decorate. Technically, those are all known to us.
Sure.
But the other part of it is saying, hey, what's this for? What's your goal? What do you hope to achieve by buying this stuff? What is the kind of feeling you want to give people who are looking at these garments? And you can get just a little further. And I think that's that consultancy thing. It's all for Abby, it's about saying, hey, what's your product mix? Who are you serving? What equipment do you currently have? Where are you headed with this stuff? That's Abby's game because she's doing stuff for Transfer Express. For us, it's going to be, who's wearing these garments? Is it something that you're selling on to a third party after this? Is there another end user? What kind of environment are they in? Is it for promotions? Are people seeing these people from far away, or are they right across a counter? There are things like that where we can say, if it's a promotional piece, we can talk about how that message gets out and how we get impressions too. So I think that's it. It's the thing that I took away from what Abby was saying was about establishing communication, and that she really put sales into the basket of relationship building, relationship marketing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is where we're at now. It's funny because we have two sides rising at the same time. And it's something that I've been kind of talking behind the scenes about lately, is that we have the relationship marketing side where we're starting to increase our individual contact with people.
Yeah.
And then we have the digital marketing side, the online sales side, where we're removing people from that chain. And the funny thing is they're both kind of coming up at the same time, and they're a little bit at odds with each other, but it seems to be somewhat related to what the product is, and certainly related to the kind of clientele and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that every sale you ever make is going to be relationship related. I do think it's interesting to say you can't have this middle ground where you're like, no, I'm a real human person, but I'm just going to slap a catalog down and walk away. That doesn't really seem to be as useful. If someone is a researcher, they're probably going to be one of these online purchasers who's going to do a lot of research for themselves and figure out every little thing before they come to the table, and they still probably need your advice. Or there's going to be somebody who's really going to appreciate you listening and engaging. And I think those are kind of the two sides of this coin right now that we're trying to figure out. But it was cool to kind of hear somebody younger than us, who's been in the business a little less, but has been in that sales role, say, here's what's going on with me. Here's what's been successful. And frankly, some of these are truisms, things that have been happening for a long time that a lot of us have noticed. This concept of listening, the concept of building relationships.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. See, that's why I said I love the half. I get to take all that in and get Eric's perspective. And Rena says, maybe just a little younger.
as I'm fully entered middle age. Yeah. Nice. I'm feeling that comment right
now. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Ramona's here. We've got Jesse here. We've got Josta checking in from Sweden.
Always good to see Josta.
Barb. Thank you, Barb. And yes, thank you, Rena. Okay. Well, Eric, let's I want to leave a little space here if that's okay, unless there's other things you want to cover on that.
I think it's hard because it's like, we've talked about this a lot. And when we agree with someone who's on screen, it's kind of like, I don't have like a contrary.
Yeah, not much else to say. We're good.
There's not much else to say. Go back and watch the episode if you want to. It was cool. It's just kind of good to see somebody talking about, the things we know, the things we do, but putting it in a different way and bringing their own spin to it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's get into the weekly wins here, Eric. Now, for those of you that are tuned in live, if you're new to this, we've got I'm seeing 11 viewers live right now, so I expect to have 11 weekly wins. I don't know, that's just the type of guy I am. My secret sauce today was about 100% commitment, so I want to see 100% response rate. What's something that was a win for you this week? What was something that stood out? It can be anything. There's no judgment here at all, whether you think it's quote unquote big or quote unquote small, right? Those are not important to the process here, but just something that you're proud of, something that you're excited about, something to celebrate here together. So that's the idea, Eric, as far as I'm concerned. You have anything that stands out right away, or?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I go ahead and lead us off today. I think I put you on the spot a couple weeks back, so we'll go ahead and bring me in. First thing I'll say, I've got something in the works, and I've got people on board for Long Beach. So if you guys don't know, Impressions Expo Long Beach 2024 is hurtling toward us like a comet. like an asteroid. It is coming quicker than you think. But the cool thing about that is I've got something new that I can't tell you all about just yet. What I am going to say is watch impressionsexpo.com.
We're just friends here, Eric. Come on.
I know. I'm just saying. I may or may not be involved in a new kind of workshop thing for embroidery where we'll have some different folks talking and be involved. We'll talk about it. It may not happen. We might just have normal classes. I'm telling you this. I'm going to be at Long Beach unless something catastrophic happens. I will be teaching at Long Beach. But the cool thing was I got buy-in from other folks who I kind of selected, or at least I brought in for the potential class stuff that we're going to do. So cool. What I'm happy about is there's some new versions of things coming along, some new ways to do education that are forming up. And I have buy-in from people who I wanted to be there with me. So I'm happy about that. And I think that was a pretty big win. The other one, I'll go ahead and give you guys one of my little, I always talk about these process wins, these little process wins that are happening in between. And just now, after massive amounts of denial and trouble, I have managed to get a product that I was working on for Amazon to be approved by the Transparency Board. Now, these people are, if you don't know what Amazon Transparency is, I'll give you a very, very brief run of this. Every once in a while, you'll buy something from Amazon that has a little QR code looking sticker. It's a data matrix sticker on the side. It looks a lot like QR code. And what this is a code to verify that it is authentic product. This is actually a fairly detailed process to become part of that, part of those groups. And I managed to get that settled out and our first product actually locked in and approved to be part of Transparency. What that means is you get a product that has this, you can scan it, find out where it came from, and you can justify that it is absolutely authentic. But something I was working on, and first product out of the line is now approved. We are not in the store yet with it, or it's not complete, but that was an immense amount of trouble. And I'll say this is the weekly win for me on this. I finally stopped and said, hey guys, I'm having trouble with this. You guys are on the board who want me to be part of Transparency over here, and you're trying to get me into this program. Keep on asking me when it's going to be done. Fix it. And they did. So after beating my head into it forever, I went to the board of people who you're working from and said, this is not making sense. I followed your instructions. Fix this. And they did. Cool. So big deal.
There you go. Good job. Yeah. Good job. As Ramona says here, I can't clap and click buttons at the same time. I should be able to do that. But Ramona says, woohoo, Eric, good job. So good. All right. I love it. I love it. Good job.
Nice.
All right, Eric. Well, let's see here. I managed to change the X belt of one of my embroidery machines all by myself. There is no service for embroidery machines in my area.
Nice. Sylvia, good work.
Very, very nice.
Clap from us.
Yeah.
Always get the applause.
That's right. We got to do that. All right. Ramona says weekly win, survive the 100-degree weather, coffee and conversation prepared early, and plan to relax the balance of the day. Good.
Hey, that is a win. Too. Yeah. Grab a little time. Yep. Necessary.
Awesome. Yes. All right. Well, there's two. So we've got some new viewers here. So if you've just tuned in, just share your weekly wins. That's what we're looking for. What happened over the course of the last 7 days? Heck, since we weren't here last week, you can make this
2 weeks of wins.
2 weeks ago if that makes it easier for you, right? So what were your wins? And let's get those out there. I'll be brief. I was able to do a webinar with my good friends over at Corel Trainer, and I was really proud of how it turned out. So it went well, and I felt like the information was good, and I felt like I was able to help some people. Kind of, again, my whole thing, like I've tried to boil down what it is that I want to do with our success group, and at the end of the day, if I'm not inspiring or helping people build a business that they love, then I'm not doing my job. So I feel like I checked the box. I did the job for that event.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And also, if you guys haven't been seeing, because we got Fort Worth coming up, our friend here, Erich Montgomery, and the folks at Corel Trainer in Korea are going to be doing a workshop over at Fort Worth. So if you're going to Impress Expo Fort Worth day before the show, go check that out, osg.link/ABCs, ABCS. And I've been seeing the spots that you guys recorded, some show spots that are now playing, where we have folks from, we got folks from Magic Touch who are talking about stuff. It's cool. So it was like just seeing seeing those spots on social. I know it's funny, but I always get amped when I see my friends doing cool stuff on social, when I see them promoting something. So I'm always liking and commenting because I'm like, man, I want to juice that up, because that's awesome. So I'm glad to hear that went off with Corral Trainer, and look for more for Aaron and Corral Trainer and Magic Touch and Creo.
I'm looking forward to getting together with those guys, Joseph and David and Clay and AJ and RJ from Creo, and
good folks,
good people, right? Yeah, that was what I am excited about, right? When you get to just go hang out, I can't remember who I was talking to about, but right, the cliche is you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but it's actually reality, right? And so to hang out with good people, getting to spend 30 minutes with Eric makes me a better person, that kind of thing. So
likewise, man.
Yeah, thanks.
That's always how I feel, especially like and actually I had a comment from Brian Bailey a little while. Brian, Creative and Brilliance, when he's in with us too, it's like we get together and do these like brainstorming sessions. You should see these big sheets of paper with all these things scrawled on them. Brian and I have these discussions where it's like, at the end of the day, I feel like we're a little smarter and have a little better idea what's going on at the end of those things. And it's something I've always said, is that I think sometimes when we come together, Socratic method, more people talking together, we arrive at a bigger truth maybe than we would have had by ourselves. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's just good soaking in that time, getting inspired. But it's always good when you get the right people around you.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, Barb's got one here. Weekly win. Mapped out 2 school stores before setting up on website. Yes, a little planning, a little first creation. I love it. Good job, Barb.
Get it. Always good
perfect stuff. All right, keep them coming. Jesse, Rena, who else has been in here? I'm just calling people out now. Sorry.
Hey, also, if you have questions, whether they're about, embroidery, sublimation, business success, life, maybe nothing too personal. I don't want to get embarrassed.
What's in my coffee?
Ready.
Right?
What's in the coffee cup? You don't know.
It's and this is not Terry Combs style coffee here. This is actually just cream and sugar.
Oh man.
All right. Mashid here. Hello. I'm back to embroidery after a long break. I celebrate my health and being back and connected to my embroidery expert and friends groups. I have missed you all. So,
glad to hear that. Take care. Glad to hear you're feeling better too. That's good.
and Kim, she thought Terry Combs coffee was hilarious, or funny at least. From the emojis, it looks hilarious. But all right,
Kim may or may not know Terry's flaws a little closely.
Yeah. She may or may not fix Terry's coffee every once in a while for him with the special sauce. Not secret.
Hey, that is not what the secret sauce is. That's different.
Special sauce. Yeah.
Different show. Different show.
So, who else has got weekly wins? And while you guys are putting that in there, I think, Eric, we can move into. We gave ourselves some space here. So, as you just said, if people have questions, if people have things that they're working on, what's got you stuck, I guess would be the way I like to say it. But
also, what are you grinding on that you didn't want to ask somebody? Just ask it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
That is my lesson this week. Like I said, I despite having gone back and forth, I was grinding on a problem and finally said, hey, these people who are working with me are here actually serving my company. Why am I working harder for that?
Yeah.
Paying you guys for service. Tell me what's wrong. They told me what's wrong. We got it fixed. But it's one of those things where you feel like you must answer the question yourself. That's not true. You can get help. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a good reminder, Eric, by the way. I know that so this is way off, but you just gave me this kind of light bulb moment. I've been nobody make fun of how much thought I put into this, but I have a lawnmower and I can't get it to start.
Yeah.
And I took it apart and I figured, okay, I can figure this out. And I realized it's something to do in the gas intake. Must have some dirt in there or something like that. So I put it back together because I'm like, I don't really feel like playing with the gas now. Well, I need to mow my lawn this weekend because it's been super hot and it's going to cool down.
Yep.
And I've been struggling going back and forth. Like, should I just take this to somebody and have them fix it? Or should I dig it out? So you reminded me that, you know what, you're not a lawnmower repair person. Just take it to the guy and he'll get it fixed up for you and it'll be okay.
Well, here, and I'll actually say this because a lot of us are entrepreneurs and business people, and I've had this problem myself. If the amount of time you are going to spend, you think, and you would use to do something worth more than the thing you're about to pay for, then go pay for the service. Ask me how I know. I have beat my head against so many things in my life where I'm like, okay, I could grab somebody who is an expert. Hey, I'm one of those experts that people bring stuff to. I have been, of course, the course of my life for a long periods of time, been the embroidery guy people brought their stuff to. Would it be smart? Would I tell somebody else, like, no, for the price you paid me, yeah, go do it yourself and spend the next 3 months trying to get good at digitizing?
Yep.
Or would I say, bring me your design and I'll do it? And you can get out of here. And that amount of money is worth so much more. That time is worth so much more. You know, it's okay to get help with stuff. And sometimes you just need a little help. Sometimes not even that much. Like I said, I finally just needed to ask and say, I'm doing all the things you've told me multiple times. Here is my actual sample file. Tell me like I'm an idiot, say what's wrong, and it just got fixed. But sometimes it takes kind of, it's swallowing the pride. And this is true, Rita says, and some, especially dudes, need to know this. You won't lose your man card by taking something in to get repaired.
Thank you, Rita. I appreciate her letting me off the hook there. And Kim following up with, take it to somebody. So Barb, this is, man, right. Now we're taking it to a whole nother level here.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I don't even need to get the lawnmower repaired. There's actually a young man that I've actually been mentoring as he's growing his business, and he mows lawns. I've always enjoyed mowing my lawn because to me it's an opportunity to go get exercise. I intentionally bought the cheap lawnmower that didn't have like the self-driving or anything like that. I'm like, I'm going to fight this thing. I want to sweat when I'm done, but
well, and there's value to that too. I'm going to say there's things that I repair that I could take in to have done that I do. I mean, one of my weekly wins like 3 weeks ago was converting a spare laptop I had because I needed kind of a laptop I could haul anywhere that I didn't manage trash in. Yeah. I was like, all right, I have an older laptop that still has a nice processor, but the drive is slow as heck. And I did a replacement, threw some RAM in it. I used to be a pretty techie guy and I still am. I do that stuff. So I did that. Could I have taken to someone to do it? Yeah. It's a 20-minute, 30-minute fix. I enjoyed opening up the laptop and cracking it and, getting out the spudgers and popping everything open and taking off ribbon cables. I had a little fun doing it. Brought me back to when I used to mess around with computers all the time, and it was fun. So there's nothing wrong with doing it if you want to, but let's put it this way. If I had gotten in there and realized that this was going to be super difficult, and I'm like, taking off heat pipes and trying to put back on thermal paste, then I would have said, hey, either buy another laptop or bring it to somebody and have them do the swap who knows better than you do. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine to do that. But it's also fine if you want to do the repair. Part of living is enjoying it.
Yeah, and I think that there is some like, okay, getting your hands in there is one thing, but and I think a lot of this does come back to how are you looking at this situation, right? As far as, are you looking at it from, I just want to do this myself so I save money, or I want to do this myself because it's fulfilling to me to do something with my hands,
or that I want to skill up for another reason.
Yeah, exactly. But but when we don't look at it as an investment, when we just look at it from the transaction, the cost side of it, we lose all of that ability to make the right choice. Yeah. So we have to look, again, something as silly as having my lawnmower repaired. I was looking at it from a transaction, right? Like, I don't need to pay the guy the $80 or whatever it would be to fix it, right? I can do it myself. I could, but in this case, it doesn't seem right. So, and then I also giggled at this. Kim Johnson, I miss having grass.
She's in Arizona now and wasn't before. And Aaron, being an Arizona person,
well, you can have grass. You just have to. You don't have to mow it because it's plastic typically, and AstroTurf.
I was like, or you have to be independently wealthy to water it.
Yeah. Actually, the grass because I actually had a yard growing up there in Phoenix. Here in Missouri, though, they would call that weeds. It's crabgrass. Because it's actually very hardy, even though it doesn't. Surely. Yeah. So
I know we're trying.
I always thought crabgrass was just how a yard was.
New Mexico native here, and I thought that's just what grows between rocks. But I mean, we have lawns too, but they don't look like those lawns everywhere else.
Yeah. Well, being an Okie, just not the same. Yeah,
100%. That is a very different climate you're in.
I understand. And Barb has a huge yard and lots of trimming. So, no, it makes total sense, right? Yeah. But again, you got to step yourself back from the transaction. And anytime we get to have a learning moment, even when we're talking about lawnmowers, I think, that's what we kind of are all about.
Same thing with digitizing. As much as I just said, lots of people have you do your design. Here's the other thing about it. Urgency of need and importance if I need a logo to fulfill a job that is this week, that is in the next 2 days, the concept of buying and learning software today to fulfill your order on, Friday, bad call. Get the thing done, get it out, spend that time somewhere else, build in that cost. Also, the idea that you want to learn some digitizing, even if you're ordering stuff out. Yes, of course. Why? You learn how to communicate better. You learn more how embroidery designs are put together. And you can also ask for things and understand why things are going wrong in a way that you couldn't, even when you're communicating with somebody else who's doing the work for you. That's skilling up. Or third thing, you want to do it because it's a creative pursuit that you love. Do it anyway, even if it doesn't make money on the lead end, and do it for that reason. And then find a way to court the customers who like the creative stuff you're doing so that you can get the value out of it. But then you have to realize that the learning process is something that you invest in, and that's part of your time and money going into it. Make sure it's something that speaks to you, that is part of what makes you happy, that makes your business worthwhile, that gives you a unique angle for customers and value proposition. But let's think, immediacy and urgency. It's like, I would love to know more about plumbing. I learned how to do some stuff and install cutoffs. If the water is blowing out of the wall, it's time to call the plumber right now. It's great for me to want to learn how to build my own. When the house is flooded, it's time to get somebody in who can do it now.
For sure. Kim says, I've learned this, especially having DTG printer now, all the steps to prepare to print. Good. And Barb says, exactly, need to know the limitations, better to ask for help, as in outsourcing.
Though I will say this, I'm a big person on having the tools anyway. I like to have the tools, whatever endeavor I'm in. I have too many tools for everything I do, trust me. But it's hard. I like to have tools.
But this concept of outsourcing is definitely one. I don't know if it's unique to our industry. It probably isn't, but it seems like it's fairly, like, people are really opposed to it. Like, they're going to figure out how to do things. And I think there's got to be, again, that, just looking at it from an investment standpoint, right? Could you do that? Absolutely. Should you do that? Like somebody that is, let's say you just have a direct to garment printer, right? Maybe that's your decorating technique of choice. And you get an order for 1,000 pieces. Right. And could you do it? Absolutely. Should you do it? Probably not. Right? I mean, I understand that. Okay, I want to have control. I want to do all that stuff. Totally understandable. But there's got to be a certain point where it's the kind of the lack of return on investment at that point, investment in the time, to print 1,000 shirts on a DTG printer. It doesn't matter how much you try to do. It still has to print. It still has to press every time. So there's not, I call it economy to scale. Right? So
there's a limit to that scale.
Correct. It's going to take you the same to print, 4 or 5 shirts as far as each shirt time as it is to print 1,000. And so if there's somebody else out there that, could screen print that maybe for you or something else, then why not use that? You still are creating again, I think we need to look a little bit harder at outsourcing and understand that just by outsourcing, we're not necessarily giving away our control.
Well, and here's the thing. Even if it's not just about control, yes, that does mean we have to vet our outsourced people. Yes, it means we have to make sure that their quality is commensurate with ours. Yes, that means we have to do that stuff. That's absolutely true. However, the good thing is we can decide on how much involvement we want in each piece. And if you're doing the thing I talked about at the very beginning of the show, which is you're being a consultant, not a commodity, then part of the value that you're worried, because a lot of people are worried that like they're just going to go to the outsourced person then and work with them. They're just going to go to the contractor if they don't need me. If what you bring to the table, if part of what you're selling is always your knowledge of the industry, your knowledge of, let's say, apparel, of the processes and what's possible, of what art to get to who, of the people you need to do the job, if your knowledge in that space is valuable and you're putting that forward, if you're providing that solution and letting them know, people are going to come to you with problems and you're the one going to say, well, it looks like you need 1,000 shirts. Here's how we're going to handle it. And you are the solutions provider. It's not something, Number one, yes, you can also try and hide your outsourced person if you want to. You can pretend you're doing it in-house. People do that. I think there's not really a good use to it.
If you feel like you have to,
no.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you feel like you have to hide your outsourced partner, they're probably not the right outsourced partner.
True.
Right. So anyhow, sorry. I just
no, and frankly, I think that's it. A good portion of it is to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and make sure you're very clear about what you offer and put that value on top. There will be value there that you're offering with your unique perspective and the knowledge that you maintain.
Yep. Kim Johnson. I think
that might
be onto something here.
Might be onto something. Good topic for two regular guys.
Yep. All right. Well, Eric, we could set up a big, to-do kerfuffle, but we'll just instead, maybe if I can find it, hit that button.
We tried to leave time to breathe and still got into it.
You just got us wound up a little too late there. So good stuff, you guys. Thank you so much. Good to be back. We should be back next week, Eric, as far as I know.
Yep.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.